Heroes and heroines of all ages. When the world tells you to get a life, you're always welcome at the One Up Block. My name is Dan the Man, your host, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Persona 1. When we last left off, we were treated to our true self, and we realized that we're a pretty damn good guy, and it resulted in us getting the ultimate personas for all of our characters, which all of our characters are currently equipped with their ultimate personas, except I think I'm gonna switch Dan to, Ilyanka, for the purpose of using Megiddola, because, you know, Megiddola is pretty boss, right? But that aside, yeah, we're going to the very last dungeon in the game, and I recommend that you stock up on a lot of things. Status healing stuff, like any items that will take off like charm or stuff like that. You want to get as many of that as possible. Make sure to pick up a bunch of chewing souls from this shop right here, actually. I think you can get most of the stuff you need from this specific shop right here in the Mikage-sun Mall. You want to make sure you have pretty much any item you think you're going to need, just pick up a bunch of it, because if you've been grinding like I have, you probably have a shit ton of money, and that shouldn't be too hard to come across. But yeah, without further ado, we need to head back to the school, because that's, you know, that's where the doodad is. It's in the library, which, again, we take a left and go up the stairs, and it's the first door to the left. On the map, anyway, like right here. And we've already talked to everybody in the last episode before we did the Ultimate Personas and the Fools, so we're just gonna head right in. And this is where you may call me a bitch, but as we walk into this, you will notice I've already kind of mapped out this area, and I did it on purpose because this place can be slightly kind of a maze, and I didn't want to waste too much time in the actual dungeon itself, so I mapped out the entire dungeon all the way up to the final boss. So, I mean, hate me all you want, I'm sorry, but you can use this as a guide yourself to get through this dungeon painlessly, and I recommend you do that, because the enemies in this dungeon do not fuck around. Having your ultimate personas does help, but for Dan, I swapped out for Megiddola, so he might be the odd man out. But as far as everything else goes, the rest of the party's ultimate personas are good for, like, one thing, and that's getting you through this dungeon painlessly, because they all have moves that are relatively decent for taking out the enemies in this area, and they also have really good stats, so you won't be dying too easily, and a bunch of them resist insta-kill, so that's definitely really good. But without further ado, walking a little bit in here, you will notice that there is, of course, a save tree and a healing station, which, you know, that's good. There's also a velvet room and an item shop, so if you still need to fuse personas or pick up items, this is a good place to grind if you need to buff up your levels or whatever. The enemies in here aren't too bad to deal with the current persona setup that we have, which is, again, the ultimate personas, which you basically get for not being a dick. So if you have been following the guide, you have all the access in the world to all the ultimate personas, and it's basically up to you if you want to, you know, do them or not. But this is kind of, looks a little bit like a school, doesn't it? The lockers on the wall here and the doors. I wonder if that's a coincidence. But yes, we are moving forward. I'm gonna let the Estoma play out right now until the full moon, which I think it's about to happen anyway. And once the full moon runs out, we will start running into monsters, because I feel like you would probably want to know what you can run into in this this map. Not that, like I said again, with the personas we have, you're kind of going to be fine. If you're as high level as me, you're also going to be doubly fine. And the final boss, we'll talk about when we get to the final boss, but she's also not too terrible. She's just kind of annoying. But again, that's a tale for another time. Also, it's a new moon, so now we're going to start running into enemies. Pretty sure this is a save tree. It is. And I'm actually going to make use of it. I know, breaking the Let's Play rule here, but this is an RPG, and this is the final dungeon, and just in case I die, I'm going to save over the second slot, just in case, so we don't have to backtrack too far. Or, so I don't have to backtrack too far. I can edit it out for you guys. You guys aren't going to see my pain. I have to deal with that all by myself. And this is that elephant guy I was talking about for fusing Moot, actually. Veltala, I think his name is. But let's see. For our setup, we're gonna want to do Megidola. We'll just do Meteoron to make sure everybody's alive. Makoa. Do Earthly Vortex, maybe? I don't know, actually. Maybe Deadly Fists, and then, Mayaha. So with this, we have blast or nuclear damage. I think it's nuclear damage. We have nuclear damage to all enemies, miracle damage to all enemies, and curse damage to all enemies. So between Megidola, Makoa, and Mahaya, something's dying. Like, there's no way that they resist all of that. So they're getting murdered is what's happening right there. Something else to make note of is Nanjo actually has a really good move with his ultimate persona. And I'm going to show it off real quick, go back to doing all this again. He actually has Makarakarn, which we've talked about before, but it is actually quite essential for the boss fight coming up. So when you get into that boss fight, you want to make sure that he has Yamaoka equipped for that very reason. But now that I've done that, I can just go to auto because I have everything set up. Megidola, Maiha, and Makoa. A lot of the enemies in this place resist or reflect or heal from either miracle or curse damage. So you're really kind of just building up this safety net with your guys using one of each type of skill. Like I said, between nuclear damage, curse, and miracle damage, they're dying. Someone is dying. They're not going to survive all of your attacks. I think this guy resists light damage, and he reflects it. But, like, even when you get reflected damage, it doesn't do that much to your party. So really, you're just trying to nuke everything, and if you take damage after a fight, you want to make sure to heal up. These guys are kind of annoying, where they reflect most magic and light, or darkness. They reflect darkness. Dan will probably kill himself here, which, you know, sucks, but I know he won't because we've got her on healing duty. And basically, you can muscle your way through these fights if your level is high enough and your personas are high enough level. So even though I'm taking damage with Dan and Reiji's going to take a hit too, as soon as we get to Makoa, you're going to destroy these guys. And I think mostly those guys are the most annoying thing you're going to run into because they are incubuses, I believe, which is similar to Lilum, where they only take damage from physical or light damage. So that sucks, because a lot of the times they're hard to hit. Your formation can be whatever you want it to be. You can put Maki back in the back row again, if you want. But for the most part, it's unnecessary for me to do so, so I'm not going to even worry about it, really. So I'm just going to leave it as is. Ba-boom! Heal up with Maki. Also, I think I told you to pick up on all the items that you need, but you will really want Chewing Souls, not just for killing the enemies in the dungeon to get through it, but also specifically for the boss fight, because your ultimate personas take a good bit of SP, and really, you're only going to be using 2 of your characters to fight the boss. And yes, that is 100% true. Because it's weird. I can't talk about it yet because it's, like, obviously a spoiler, but when we get to it, we'll get to it. I think we're coming up to another save spot. Like, at the very least, they're giving you a lot of spots to save so you don't, like, have to backtrack too far to get back to the final boss, so that's that. And like I said before, again, this is a JRPG, an RPG. You want to save as much as possible, which now I will be demonstrating because I want to make sure that I don't have to do as much work either. So you save, and then when you die, you start back off here, and you can grind if you need to or whatever. I don't think you can get into this room. It's, like, locked. I don't know if you can actually get into there at all, because this is the last dungeon, and I've never come back to this door, so, I mean, if you can do that, that's cool, but unnecessary, apparently. Oh, and this place is very huge, very big. I think this guy is Oberon, isn't it? Yep, it's Oberon. That's a shout out to you, Eco. I think they resist magic mostly, but as you just saw, they're weak to Megidola. I think we saw Oberon back in the forest. rarely, I think. I don't remember, but I recall us having seen him before, so it's nothing too fancy. Then we have these douchebags, the incubuses, who fucking reflect everything but light and physical, which, you know, pain in the ass. And they're gonna drop that death bomb on us. They also have all dark attack, which is only dangerous for Nanjo, I think. He's the only one that takes major damage from the darkness. So that's fine. We don't have to really worry about it too much. However, we are low on health, so I'm gonna go ahead and ba-boom. And just in case, number one, I think I'm gonna finally dump a couple of these on Dan to get them out of the way, because they're kind of annoying. Vitality. The inventory could be a little better, to be perfectly honest with you. Increase HP. That's kind of cool. Increase SP. I gave it to Nanjo because Nanjo takes 30 SP to use his shit, so that sucks. But yes, that's good. Let's keep moving. So, again, this place is pretty huge, and I didn't want to get myself lost because there is a couple of places where you can just get turned around and shit, and I didn't really want to waste too much time because I planned for this to be the last episode. The boss fight is hopefully going to be in this episode, and the reason why I don't want to waste too much time in Avidya World specifically is because the boss fight, holy shit, does she eat up a lot of time. That plays into the thing that I said earlier, where she's a fucking pain in the ass. Mostly she's a pain in the ass because it takes forever to kill her. It's not even that she's really a threat. If you have my setup, she's like, her threat's non-existent. She's not even on the radar. It's the fact that it takes so damn long to take her out. Megidola, sorry Eco. Your poopsies are toast. But we keep moving on, we keep trucking, we keep doing the do, as they say. We have a darkness room here, again playing into that, taking the wrong oh, actually, we have I don't know what those angels are called, but those are succubuses, I believe. Succubuses, again, are a better form of Lilum, or the incubus, where they have better stats. And that's about it, really. They probably have different attacks as well, but I'm not really gonna bother with figuring out what those are. If we run into them again, which we probably will, I'll check them out, but I guess if you wanted to make a succubus that has Megidola, you could do that, but that would require you to go gamble and get a Megidola stone, which, you know, that's fine. It's not that difficult. In fact, my buddy Eco, bringing him up again, he got a shit ton of money and, like, bought coins at the casino. Yeah, I think it's a casino, kind of. It's wherever you gamble. And he bought enough coins to be able to buy the Megidola stones. So you can just not even gamble, just buy the coins straight up with all the money you make, and just get a Megidola stone if you really want to. And that's not cheating. I remember I used to try and do that in Pokemon Red and Blue and Yellow. Anybody else try to just buy coins instead of playing the slots just to get those Pokemon? Because it's basically the same concept, except you get a lot of money in Persona 1. Like a shit ton of money, so you can probably just end up with a bunch of Megidola stones without even trying, honestly. Which is shitty because Megidola is like the best move in this game. Objectively the best move in this game. Because it obviously has its weakness, where some enemies do not get affected by it too much, or they reflect it, in the worst case. But like I said before, this game has like this weird rock, paper, scissors thing going on, where if it's not weak to one thing, it's probably going to be weak to this other thing, which you can then abuse the auto... Sorry, I got like a burp building up in my chest, but it's where if one thing doesn't work, another thing will work with the auto system, and it can be abused that way. Like, if your spells don't work, you can use weapons. If your weapons don't work, you can use guns or spells. Like, it's not that difficult to overcome the struggle that the game tries to put on top of you, in most cases. Do these guys heal from light magic? I hope not, because I'm about to try and hit them. Hopefully they just reflect it, but darkness is what I want to use, because that should kill them. Please don't heal them. Reflect it. Yes, okay, that's fine. So we could just use replay on these guys. The problem with them healing any amount of magic is that if I keep spamming both light and dark, they have a chance to heal all the damage that I do as well. Bada boom, you are dead. I don't know what you are, but you are dead. We're also getting a bunch of tablets. I think those are used for demon fusion, but it doesn't really matter. We don't need anything more than the ultimate personas, I promise you. Bada boom. Actually, like, if I can stress anything right here, like if you're not at the final boss and you're considering not having at least Amon-Ra in your party, I highly suggest, even if you don't get the rest of the... Oh, we can check out the succubus. Oh, it's not a succubus, it's called... Tlazoltl? I don't know. Absorbs element and force, weak to physical. So this is actually a better version of the succubus, apparently. I had no idea, but there's that, I guess. Like I was saying before, I highly recommend that you bring at least Amon-Ra. I would suggest that you bring all the ultimate personas to make this the least painful it could be. But if you're against the idea of getting all of the personas, you probably at least want... You actually really want Amon-Ra, period. And another one that I would highly suggest bringing is Nanjo's, Yamaoka. And I'll get into why when we get to the boss fight, but for now it's, you know, I'm warning you. Before going into this boss fight, you kind of probably want those guys, because if you don't have them, it's going to be a painful, painful time. Especially depending on your level. I'm not over-leveled for this fight, because the final boss is like level 85, I believe. And good God, does she have a shit ton of health. So I'm not over-leveled by any means, but I'm also over-leveled, if that makes sense. And it's still going to be like a struggle for me to get through time-wise. So if you're under-leveled, if you're lower-leveled than me and you didn't grind the way I did, and you don't have the ultimate personas or have good personas in general, like, you're going to have a bad time. So, again, just as a friendly advice, if you will, take Amon-Ra. Take Amon-Ra and Yamaoka at the very least. Your main character's ultimate persona and Nanjo's ultimate persona. They will make your life a little better. The rest of the ultimate personas are debatable if you need them or not. But for the sake of argument, they do all have, except for Mark. Mark's ultimate persona is kind of shit. Just FYI. Everybody else pretty much resist, like, the rest of your party's personas resist the last fight. Most of her attacks, they won't take too much damage from it if you have their ultimate personas. But Mark, for whatever reason, takes a shit ton of damage from the boss because she uses, like, ice, and he's weak to ice. Of course. So, I mean, it's kind of shitty, but, you know. It is what it is. The ultimate personas aren't that amazing, to be perfectly frank with you. You've seen them. I've shown them off in that last video if you watched it. They are kind of underwhelming, which is fine. It doesn't matter. Amon-Ra is the best of the bunch, with probably Yamaoka coming at a close second, and Maki's Verdandi? Yeah, Verdandi coming at a close third because she has healing magic and shit. But the rest of them are just kind of there. Mark's is the weakest. Dan's is the best, as it should be. We're the main character, so we should have the best dibs on the best persona, don't you think? And Amon-Ra isn't even like the best. Well, I guess arguably he is the best persona, because all that matters at the end of the day is what's best for the final boss, right? And Amon-Ra is probably the most effective persona for the final boss. Therefore, I put forth the argument that Amon-Ra is the best persona in this game. Period. Not for most individual fights, which is why I'm not using him right now. Megiddola is infinitely more useful than hieroglyphs for most normal battles, because I think most enemies resist hieroglyphs, weirdly enough. The only things that don't resist hieroglyphs, the only things that are super weak, like the most weak you can be to a skill, is the 2.5 damage to bosses with hieroglyphs. Like, they take the most amount of damage from the question mark skill. which, to my knowledge, is only hieroglyphs. There is no other spell in the game like hieroglyphs, period. So, bosses are super weak to it, and that automatically makes him the best Persona. Of course, a lot of the times the bosses aren't even a fucking problem, and your biggest problem is going to be dealing with dying most of the time in the dungeons. So I guess you can also make the argument that it's not good because it's kind of poo-poo. We're also not healing, sorry Trish. You could also argue that it's kind of poo-poo because it's not very good for regular encounters. I'm also going to save here again. I'm going to be very liberal with my saves. Liberal, is that the right word? I don't know. I'm not a dictionary, I don't know everything. Okie dokie. Now I think we're pretty close to the end here. If not right at the last part. Which I hope so, because this place kind of sucks. But again, Dan killed himself. Ba-boom! That's fine though. We should be fine. Dan has the weakest persona on him currently. Therefore it's not very surprising that he ended up dying from reflection. So that's good. We're good though. Everybody's pretty awesome. They can take out everything by themselves. This isn't a RPG where I over-leveled the main character and now everybody else suffers because of it. Dan is pretty on par with the rest of his teammates, which is good. It's good. I don't remember. I guess this is another shop. So yes, we are very close to the end. Here's another space where you can grind out if you need to. We don't need to buy anything, I don't think. Actually, let's go see what they have, just in case. Chewing souls, I'll get more, I guess, because why not? Bombs of life, I can get more because we have a shit ton of money. I'm not going to use it at all, by the way. And for the most part, yeah, we're good. It doesn't matter. The rest of it doesn't matter. We're good. So if you need to level up, grind, or what have you, this is another space where there's a Trish Trish healing spring, a shop, and a velvet room. So you can do all your business here if you'd like. I do not need to, so we're just going to keep moving on. And we are not in the final area. Not yet. You'll know we're in the final area when there's a bunch of exclamation marks on the floor. Mayha. Ba-boom. Ah, that actually killed them all instantly. Holy shit. I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to backfire, actually. But this place is pretty windy. Oh, we're actually in the Avidya world now. I just realized the map says Avidya world. It doesn't say first floor or whatever. That means we're getting close to our goal, ladies and gents. I gotta stress again, this is potentially the last episode, period. Not overall. There's another story to do. I'm not doing it yet. I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but I will get to it eventually, so, you know, don't worry about it. But as far as the main plot, the canon plot, we're just about done with Persona 1. It's kind of weird to think about. I've kind of been avoiding doing it because I just didn't feel like doing an RPG. But being so close to the end, it feels pretty good. As it usually does. RPGs take a lot of preparation and stuff. Just so I don't fuck something up or waste time. So that's why that I kind of wanted to avoid it most of the time. But it's again, it's not a bad game. It's fun. If you think it all what you've been seeing this entire Let's Play is good, or you think that it's interesting or would be fun to play, then I highly recommend you try it out. The PSP version, at the very least, is very, I guess modernized is a good way to put it. Not really, but they fixed a lot of problems that the PS1 version had. The loading times are better, the graphics are better, the music is debatably better. I prefer this soundtrack, but I know a lot of people like the PS1 soundtrack better. Which is fine. Opinions. You're free to have whatever you like. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm happy that you're happy. That's the main thing. That's my main worry, is I hope that you're just having a good time. I don't give a shit if you think that I'm having a good time. I want to make sure that you guys are having a blast. These guys, those guys back there reflect Megiddo, which sucks. But it's fine because they don't reflect Makoa or Mahaya. So they're dead. And, ooh, we are at the end here. And before you do anything, make sure you heal up and use Liftoma. Because if you recall, exclamation marks on the floor are traps, and if you step on them, you take damage. But this is the final area of Avidya World. We're about to be done with it. What the hell are those things? Oh, a cherub. Aren't cherubs those fat baby angels? That's not a cherub, that's a horseman. But, assuming they're an angel, yep, they're weak to Mahaya. They're probably gonna reflect, yep. They do reflect it. Oh, and holy shit, they're weak to punches. Jeezums. Dan's just gonna keep hurting himself, which is fine. I'm really burpy today, I'm sorry. Mahaya, die. Die, you beast. We got a bead from that? Are you kidding me? We are gonna wanna make sure everybody's healed up for this. We're not very close. We still have a little bit of dungeon to go through. I want to make sure that SP is... I guess I could have just waited till we got to the boss fight, honestly. What the hell? Are those aliens? Grimmies. Grimes? Grimies? I don't know. It doesn't matter what they are. Destroy them. Dust this bitch. Oh, they're not weak to that. Oh, they have hell eyes. Yeah, that's an insta-kill. That's not good. That is the opposite of good. Oh my goodness. What the hell? Oh, this is bullshit. If I die to these guys, that would suck so much ass. I don't think I will though, because I'm pretty sure, at the very least, Ragey resists insta-kills. I want to say that's the case, but I'm not entirely sure. So this could turn badly for me, but we saved, so that's fine. That's the whole purpose of saving, right? Alright, Hell Eyes. Terrorize. Get it? Terror. Yeah, they're clever. Alright, they are almost dead. Come on. Alright, that's one. And, oh no. Okay, wait, it's dead. That was a little scary. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you want to save every chance you get, because bullshit like that can happen, and you are dead. If the luck of the draw is not on your side, what the hell is that? A three-headed buffalo? What is its name? Mangadal? Mangadai. I don't know. The three-headed buffalo, everybody. That's my favorite. Oh no, he heals from Mahaya. He's an evil son of a bitch. Let's hope Megidola doesn't heal him. Let's hope... Wait, did we use Megidola on him yet? No, we didn't. Use Megidola. Blow him up. Yeah. That's my boy Dan doing fucking work, buddy. Alright. Oh boy, this episode's going on pretty long, so... I apologize if this ends up being, like, over 30 minutes. But if it does, you know why. Because it's the final dungeon and the final boss. Also, there's Draco and his girlfriend. How you doing, guys? Let's see if he watches this episode and figures this out. If I hear back from him, I know the answer. I know the answer to my tale. Deadly Fist. Also, Draco, I'm sorry about killing you and your girlfriend. It's nothing personal, but I gotta save the world, bud. You know it. Actually, you know what? I could just end the episode as we get to the fucking final... Well, would that be fair? That'd be kind of anticlimactic, I guess. I'm not sure, but, you know. I think YouTube is based around how long people watch your videos these days, so I guess it's not far-fetched to just keep it long. Not that I'm trying to, you know, make a video super long so that you guys have to invest that much time to it. But it's not that hard to, like, set a video to, like, watch later or whatever, so... You know. I'm not trying to make this video stupid long, I just want it to be cohesive, you know? Not cut the video off as we're, like, getting to the boss, because that's kind of like a cop-out. It's like a, oh ho ho, next time on Dragon Ball Z, bitch! But we're at the final boss, so maybe we can get through it. If anything, I'd kind of want to speed through the final boss. Not because it's, it's something that you need to see, because it is, because it's the final boss, but, like, you'll see. You'll see when we get to it. I'll make sure to explain her in great detail when we get to the fight, so you know what to do. But I'm contemplating if it takes too damn long to just skip to the end, because my strategy never changes. Therefore, all you really need to know is my strategy, and then after a little bit I could just cut to the end of the fight, because I'm gonna explain why I should probably skip to the end of the fight, just so you know. You'll figure it out, but now that we're at the end here, this door is the final boss. There's nothing past this point in the game. We're fighting the very last enemy, and after that the credits will roll, so nothing else matters at this point, so make sure everybody's all buff boyed up and let's head through that door. Sure. Another me? So this is Pandora. Look, is that the core of the Deva system behind it? It was inevitable, I suppose, that you'd make it here. This is the gate to paradise, and I won't give it up. I'll use it to create my paradise, a place where nothing exists. No, that's not Gate to Paradise at all. It's a Pandora's box that will bring evil to this world. Sure, everything is useless. Utterly useless. You, me, useless. These things I do not need. Now be gone from me. Sure. Now let us disappear together. And here we have Pandora. That is one hell of a boss, don't you think? That design, holy shit. I'd also like to point out that if you go back and watch that scene where it introduced her, the picture, the second penis head is actually like the butt of a girl with the legs dangling off the side. Look, the guys over at the guys who worked on SMT are fucked up. Alright, look, I love it. I strangely love it, but like, yeah, welcome to the Shin Megami Tensei fanbase. By the way, it gets worse if you played the actual SMT games, but Persona does not stray away from being fucking weird. But here we have Pandora's first form, and you heard it right, folks. This is her first form. Let that sink in. This fucker has a whopping 5,000 health, which is not that bad, and it is weak to axes and guns. That's it. It resists expel and death, and it resists ice, and that's it. Its weaknesses are axes, guns, and of course 2.5 times damage from hieroglyphs, which we're going to be abusing the shit out of. It uses Bufadime, Parapharma, which inflicts stone status. It raises the attack of itself and its defense. It lowers, it paralyzes. I'm sorry. I'm reading this off the wiki, by the way. I'm just trying to make it all professional for you guys, so you know what the hell's going on. It has heavy non-elemental damage, and it can paralyze to all foes, so that's bad. But for the most part, she's pretty harmless. And the strategy is exactly what I said before. Oh crap, I should have changed Dan's persona, but now I gotta fucking waste a turn doing that. You could just use Eternal White, and using Makara Karm is actually a pretty good strategy as well. Eternal White, Eternal Black, and actually, you know what? No, never mind. Hold on. You can have everybody shoot because it's weak to guns. I forgot. I'm stupid. There you go. Have everybody but Dan and possibly Maki, who can heal, use their attacks as stated, right? Like shooting, and then have Maki heal and Dan using hieroglyphs. You didn't get to see the wonderful amazingness that is hieroglyphs yet, but you will. I'm gonna speed up the fight now because nothing too interesting happens. It's every boss fight as seen. I'll save. No, I was thinking about letting the boss fight animations play out because it's the final boss, right? But like, it takes forever, so I don't think I'm gonna bother. But we have Amon-Ra equipped now, so we can use hieroglyphs. and then have everybody else shoot, because that's the max amount of damage. And watch and be amazed as Hieroglyphs does a poop ton of damage. So I guess pretty much the strategy for this chick is just the same as Kandori. Aside from Hieroglyphs, dust this bitch, basically. Shoot the shit out of her, have Dan use Hieroglyphs, and before you know it, she'll be dead. This first form is not anything to worry about. If you're weak, she might actually do some damage to you. But hopefully you're not weak. I've taught you how to grind and how to be great, how to have good personas for this, so hopefully you took that advice. If not, and you're underleveled, this might be a little more tough for you, I can imagine, but again, her only damaging things is a non-elemental all attack that can paralyze your whole team, which I think is that, and she has Bufadine, which only hits an area of effect, so not every person, but part of my team is paralyzed right now. I could take the time to use an item to get them unparalyzed, but I'm not going to bother. Damn, man. It's beautiful. Why won't you give up? Please, give up. Please. And thus starts the second part of the fight. Pandora. And this is her second form, and her second form is kind of funny. You'll see it happen multiple times, but this Pandora can actually change her hair color, and that's not just like a woman thing. I'm sorry, women, I didn't mean that. But she, depending on what hair color she has, she will do different things. So right now she has the red hair or the pink hair, and pink hair is weak to all weapons, all physical attacks basically, and she resists or reflects all magic except for Miracle. She takes damage from Miracle and Hieroglyphs, which both Pandora forms take, both hair colors take damage from Hieroglyphs, so that's what you want to focus on. But she has Mabufadine, which is an all ice spell, which is terrible. She can inflict charm status in an area of effect, which is not very good. I probably should have spread out my team a little bit, so that's a tip for you. She can prevent us from recovering HP for 3 turns, which sucks ass. No persona change for 3 turns, which is less shitty. A light rush attack that hits one foe, and Butterfly Storm, which is heavy non-elemental damage plus a random status effect to all foes. That's really bad. So from here on in, our strategy is still use Hieroglyphin with Dan, but everybody else is going to be changing up their what they're doing. Maki, for the most part, is either going to be healing or throwing items at people. And for this, we kind of want to use turtle candy. Cures. Oh, crap. Actually, no. We'll just use this to get rid of their status ailments. But what's important here is to make sure you use Makara Karm. Because what Makara Karm does is prevents you from taking spell damage for 1 full turn. And another thing that Maki does, or Pandora, sorry. Another thing that Pandora does is she gets a 2-turn... Well, she gets 2 turns, that's it. She gets to hit you twice, which is very dangerous. But if you can apply Makara Karm and you're faster than her, for the most part, you'll never take damage from her most devastating attacks. And therein lies the biggest strength to Dan and Nanjo's personas. Using Hieroglyphs as your main source of damage, and then use the rest of your characters to either heal or apply items like Chewing Souls when possible. Because Chewing Souls restores SP, and Nanjo eats SP. So you're gonna have to do that. But as you see, we reflect magic for 1 turn, so she can't do jack shit, and she wasted her turn. And then Dan does a shit ton of damage, and that's how this is gonna go until she goes down. And I'm not even kidding you. It doesn't get any more interesting than that, unfortunately. Let's go find ourselves a Chewing Soul. Make sure to dump them on Dan and Nanjo because they are the 2 spamming spells. And you might ask yourself, why am I not going to attack with the other characters? Because, of course, I could do more damage and make this fight faster, right? Like, that's your thought process. You don't do that much damage to her, And as stated before, she has 2 different hair colors. And while she's in a blue-haired form, which I have not talked about, she resists all physical attacks and most spells except for fire, earth, electric, nuke, and gravity. Oh, and miracle. And curse? And again, hieroglyphs. So it's kind of like a weird balancing act where you have to deal with what hair color is there, and sometimes even before you get a chance to use, like you'll set up your, like she has pink hair, right? Like right now, say you plan for that and use an attack that is good against the pink hair. If she goes before you do, she can change her hair color and your damage will do jack shit. So this is a very inconsistent boss fight, and doing damage to her is very difficult with anything but Amon-Ra, and that is why I chose this strategy. Amon-Ra will always do a consistent 500 to 600 damage depending on the hair color, and with Makar Karm up, she can't do that much damage to your party. And as long as the rest of the party is dumping items on the characters that need to use SP, you can't lose this fight unless you're really, really weak for whatever reason, and she gets a cheap shot and kills you, which is possible. This is a Japanese role-playing game. It's an SMT game, and they want you to die. Unfortunately, that's just the way things go. But because my party's speed is so high, she can barely do anything before I get the chance to attack, so I get to put up my Makar Karm before she gets a chance to attack, and therefore if she uses magic, she's fucked. And that's it. This is the strategy. Like, I'm not kidding you. For the rest of this fight, we're going to be doing this, and you're asking, why is that a bad thing? Like, clearly I had the strategy down where she can't do anything to me, and it's basically an easy fight, right? Well, that in lies the problem with her. She is level 80... no, I'm sorry. Pandora's second form is level 99, and she has 15,000 HP. Just to let that sink in, the last form had 5,000. She has a shit ton of health for no real reason, other than the fact that she's the final boss. So again, bringing this part up, if you come here underleveled, and like I said before, she's level fucking 99. I'm only like level 60 something. I'm technically underleveled for this fight. So if you come to this fight with less health, you are super fucked. Especially if you don't come with the personas that I've suggested you bring with you. So that's like this whole can of worms where, as much as I love this game, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This game isn't that great, but I love playing it regardless. This boss fight sucks. She's kind of a pain in the ass, and unfortunately they kind of didn't learn their lesson when they tried to do something cool like this again for Persona 3. That final boss sucks ass too, and we'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, Pandora's Pandora. She's not that difficult if you're in a position like I am. The biggest difficulty is balancing items, which if you only have 2 people doing attacks and then 3 people throwing chewing souls everywhere, your biggest problem is Nanjo, because Nanjo uses 30 SP to use his skills, where Dan uses 20, I believe. So Dan's pretty much okay. So balancing out who gets the SP is not that difficult. You're basically just waiting till somebody fucking dies. And it is incredibly painful. You've seen everything she can do. I've told you all of her attacks. You know what to look forward to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the rest of this boss by myself until the very end, and then we'll sit through the final scenes together. Like, I'm trying to get through to you that you're not missing anything here. You've seen everything there is to do with this boss. She has too much fucking health, and I don't want to sit through that because it'll make this video really long, and I have nothing much more to say about her. So I'm sorry if you wanted to see the full fight, but it's not really that exciting. So, I mean, you know, I'll see you guys at the end of the fight. Why won't you give in? How? How can you be so strong? You already know, don't you? It's 'cause we're not alone. That, and we believe in ourselves. People can't live in isolation. If things are hard, just look around. We'll be there for you. You and me, we're both part of Maki Sanamura. These are our friends. Let's end this. Together. Thank you. At last, it's over. Yeah. Thank you. All of you. We have to part ways now. But I'll never forget you all. Hey, what do you mean, part ways? I'm only a shadow of Maki Sanamura. I can't go with you. It was fun. Really, it was. Hey, Maki, that's not fair. Whoa.
I'll send all of you back to the real world. 1 second. Thank you. I hope you'll still think about me at least once in a while. Goodbye. I love you. Goodbye.
Nothing more need be said. I'm sure you have all discovered by now your true selves. The smiles you wear are no longer false masks. You may find yourselves troubled or suffering or lost in the future, but there is nothing to fear. Look to your soul for your true self. No matter what trials you may face, that will be enough for you to weather the storm. Now go forth into your bright futures.
Though the world's eyes were on Mikage-cho after the incident, normalcy eventually returned to the town. Despite the heavy media attention on Sebek and Kandori, the identities of the students central to the incident remained hidden. Time passed and incident faded from people's minds. The young adults came away with a firm sense of their true selves as they took their first steps towards the unwritten future. Huh? After all that bitching, you decided to show up anyway? What in the... You're behaving rather strangely today. Masao, they tell me you hate heights. But who told you that? Hadehiko was telling anyone who'd listen. Something about this being the last. I came to get a good look at you, screaming in terror. Indeed? That does sound like something worth witnessing. I believe I'll stay around to observe as well. That dick! He's always doing stuff like this. What are you laughing about? Look, there's no way I'm going. Forget it. Sorry to keep you waiting. Huh? What's wrong, guys? Ah, Maki, Daniel. Perfect timing. It seems Masao's canceling today's plans. Such a pity. Huh? How come? I was really looking forward to it. Nanjo, you evil. Is he telling the truth, Masao? No way. I'm going. Yay! Chisato and the others are waiting outside. Come on, everyone, let's go! Nanjo, Reiji, you guys are gonna pay for this. Looking at Maki now. What happened before is like a bad dream. Pandora, eh? Don't tell me you're still thinking about all that. Oh, it's nothing. I only just remembered the last thing in Pandora's box. Well then, Daniel, shall we go? Hey, what did you mean by that? Hurry up, Daniel! The last thing in Pandora's box, to my knowledge, was hope. Very nice, very fitting, very touching ending. And we get our class picture. But we get to see what they're doing now. Maki Sanomura, with her illness completely cured, she matured into a cheerful, positive woman. She won an award at a major art exhibit and has received lucrative commission offers, but her priorities still lie with spending time with her mother. She was recently seen enjoying dinner with her mother and a man who seemed to be her boyfriend. We don't get confirmation on who the hell that is. Masao Inaba, he won over his strongly opposed parents and went to New York on his own. His street art style has received critical acclaim, and news of his notoriety even reached Japan. His mother still pesters him with phone calls every week. Oh, isn't that nice? Yeah, this is the epilogue. Also, this video is probably going to go on for a long time, and I apologize for that. Kei Nanjo. As a part of his executive training, he took a job incognito as a salesman at Nanjo Group's subsidiary. After seeing how the rest of the world lived, he slowly became mellower. Some have spotted him sleeping on the train, wearing a tie embroidered with the phrase, "Number 1. Reiji Kido. With his vendetta settled, he was finally free to live his own life. He married a kind woman reminiscent of his mother shortly after graduation, and now has a child of his own. Mark joked that the child inherited Reiji's sharp tongue and standoffish personality. Good for you, Reiji. As for his fate, that's for you to decide. Isn't that nice? Because he's you. He is you and you are him. Isn't that a nice little tie-in to the meaning of the game? And that's it. There's going to be a song playing in the background, so hopefully I can talk and let it play. But yes, that is the end of Persona 1 PSP Edition. We have made it. Holy hell, has it been a long road. RPGs are always tough, but it has taught me a little bit on how I can do things. But yeah, Persona 1, as far as it goes, not a very good game, not a very fun game a lot of the times, but it's still got a soft place in my heart. I do love it. It's fun to play through every now and again. I don't go back to it religiously for any reason whatsoever, but the story is really good, the characters are really good, and the gameplay is fun for a while, so there's that. If you liked what you saw, I recommend you try it out. It's a very fun game to play if you're into dungeon crawling. I'm not super into dungeon crawling myself, so that's where my wishy-washiness comes with it. But you guys saw, I played through the entire game and did a bunch of grinding. If you noticed, my total game time was over the, it went to the maximum. That's how much time I spent in this game for this Let's Play, so let that sink in. But, yeah, that's about all I have left to say about Persona 1. Join me again next time as we talk about some other game, some other time. Enjoy the credits, folks.